It's game time. The Kid Gowie. Ravens Nation. All we know is purple and black. And if you're not a Ravens fan, welcome to Baltimore, Maryland, M&T Bank Stadium, where opponents don't make it out alive unless we bury them. Every team be afraid of them, especially all the quarterbacks, cause our defensive linemen won't hesitate to leave you sacked. Let's take a minute, go back to Super Bowl 35. Domination was an understatement up against the Giants. Numerous touchdowns, they put up numbers, and it didn't take a nutritionist to see they hunger. Only stat Kerry Collins could get was interceptions. He must have thought throwing to the D counted as receptions. The pass was legendary, but don't sleep on the present. Our secondary make quarterbacks avoid that direction. You trying to run the ball, you better hope your blockers work. You can juke, you can spin, but your destination's the turf. This is a man's game, being soft will get you hurt. Watch the defense force a fumble and the fans go berserk. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go! They always win when the championship's on the line. So if you hoping that they failed, then you really wasting your time. Go and ask the 49ers, I'm pretty sure they remember when they made a comeback, but weren't declared the winners. 2 rings down, but you know they won't stop now. If the opposing D's caught slipping, you know exactly how that goes. That's another deep connection for 6 points in the end zone. The stadium goes wacko as Ravens put in work. Pittsburgh Steelers, that still curtain is looking more like a skirt. So tell me who they say is going to beat them Bengals. Who used to be the Browns until they relocated? Ravens, they are one of the greatest. There's simply no denying it. To beat them, bringing your A game's a requirement. With the youth of the team, I bet they still be dominating, even after the greatest linebacker's retirement. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple, you can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high, watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on, embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go!
Yo, how's everybody doing? Welcome to SG Sports tonight, live again every Monday at 5. Make sure you hit that like button, guys. If you want to help me, just hit that like and also put some comments there. We're gonna discuss a couple of things. Ravens, man, they had that pen, right? A lot of signings out. And by the way, guys, I will say this up in front: tired as hell. Sunday, did 15 miles on a bike, and rode a bike, and I'm not a bike guy. I'm trying to get into biking, so I'm tired. Today was a long day at work, and tomorrow I'm sure I'm getting bad news at work. I'm expecting it, so let's do this thing. Shout out to everybody here: Don Ciezana, Terrence, Yanich, 410 Tay, Brandon, Thomas Morgan, and everybody else that is not commenting, but it is here, and we have a good one. Let's talk about it real quick. Let's talk about the signing first. Ravens signed Gus Edwards for 2-year extension. Was it $5 million per year? Something like that. I mean, Gus deserves the money that he got. Gus has been a warrior for us. Gus is a great two. I mean, 1-2 punch with J.K. Dobbins, but before J.K. Dobbins, he was a good 1-2 punch with Ingram. Before that, as a rookie, when we cut him and we had him in the practice squad, and we brought him because we were just dead with injury, he was still good with Flacco. I'm beginning the part, but basically better with Lamar. So he's being a good back. I think he's well deserved, undrafted guy, so he hasn't been making a lot of money. Good for you, Gus. Good job, man. You are a warrior. I love to see Gus in the backfield, so I like that signing. Then surprising, we signed Howard, right? Juwan Howard from Denver, and before that he was with Miami. Denver overpaid for this guy a ton, and he did nothing for them. And for us, what am I expecting him to do? Close to nothing. But what this is a half a mil. So cap hit wasn't bad, right? Half a mil, I think, is the cap hit for this year. It's the only guaranteed money. What you want is to rehab him. I'm guaranteeing he's gonna start in the pup list. So he's gonna get pupped. And then after that, the Ravens probably will do is see how he is, and then maybe put him as a backup tackle. Insurance, if he plays decent. Villanueva. I was like, where's our guy from Pittsburgh? Villanueva. If Villanueva doesn't play well, this dude was a right tackle in Miami, and he's healthy. Maybe they slide him as a right tackle. If not, maybe next year he's a right tackle and Villanueva's out. Regardless, this guy is as low as a risk as you can get and a medium reward. I don't think he's a high reward, but he's a medium reward, right? So what I see is the Ravens trying to just make sure you have some depth over there, make sure you have Gus. That also tells me they are talking to people that are going to be free next year. So Mark Andrews, which is a bigger contract, and I think Mark Andrews pretty much because Lamar still you have 2 years with him. So anyway, those two signings. What happens though with the cap, right? Because we all want another pass rusher, and we haven't heard nothing. And by the way, tomorrow the whole Howard thing will come up because we are ranking O lines tomorrow. So go to the AFC North Talk if you can and check that out. But would this affect the pass rusher being signed? Well, no. So according to Jeff Ziriak, we actually created a small amount of cap, which I don't think that was the reason we signed these two guys. But we created a small amount of cap, which is great. So, yeah, that is that. I mean, Howard won't change anything for your starting lineup at all. And then Gus is good for us in the future, right? Now your next 3 years, your backfield is set. Obviously, there could be cuts and blah, blah, blah. But for now, backfield is set, and Gus is not costing you arm and a leg. They both, oddly enough, they're both going to be free agent at the same time. In 3 years, J.D. Dobbins a free agent. In 3 years, Gus a free agent. Okay, saying that, let's talk about the main topic today. By the way, can you give me a thumbs up if you hear me good? Just a quick thumbs up if you can hear me. But anyway, let's talk about the topic of today: wide receiver. How a wide receiving core can go from last in the league to, in my opinion, could be a possibly top end. Now, this doesn't mean you're gonna have a 1,500 yard guy. This doesn't mean you're thank you, Click. This doesn't mean your offensive passing game is gonna be top of the league. What this means is how you core this wide receiving group can definitely be on top of the league. Let's think about what we had last year, right? Let's retract. You have a guy for the sake of argument, I'm not talking tight ends at all. So you have Hollywood Brown, the guy that you depend the most, right? Deep in short route. Sorry, guys. Short routes, bubble screen, drag routes. I mean, you basically depend the most on him. Then you have Willie Snead. He was your intermediate guy, your hands guy, your moving the chain guy. Good hands, fighting for that extra yard. And Boykins. And that's it. Duvernay was usually used basically for reverses, occasionally snaps, but not much. Now, that was your receiving core. And then Prochet, I don't even know how many snaps the Prochet got, but not many. That is it. That is Chris Moore. Chris Moore, he had a couple snaps too. I'm blanking, by the way. Am I missing somebody? Please. I already said Boykins, right? Boykins, consequential. He has his moments, but for the most part, I don't think I missed anybody. Now, think about this year, right? You substitute Willie Snead for Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins is better talent. Health issues? Yes, better talent. More dynamic. Can make more plays. I love Willie Snead. Shout out to Willie Snead. He's a bulldog. Love him. Gonna be missed. But Sammy Watkins has way more dynamic, way more imp in his game. By the way, let me do this here real quick. If you want to be in the show, text, okay? Because we're gonna take some callers later if we have any. Oh, I see there's some people already. I already have a queue. Okay. Anyway, so what was I saying? Okay, so Willie Snead for Sammy Watkins. We cannot disagree that Sammy Watkins is a better talent. Health issues, we'll see. Hands-wise, Sammy Watkins has as good as a hand as Willie Snead. Sammy Watkins can make more dynamic plays than Willie Snead. Okay, that is your one-on-one. Hollywood and Hollywood, right? Inconsequential for this conversation is you're gonna have Hollywood, which I think he's gonna be better going to year 3. But not only that, he's not gonna be only your main guy. Now you have Boykins. Now Boykins, in my opinion, will be a little better this year. I think he is playing for staying in this team. I know he's also probably thinking I might be out of the league. My hope is you see more aggressive because I think what Boykins is missing is aggression. My guy Boykins is too laid back. I want to see him more. I need to see him more. So Boykins versus Boykins, also kind of a watch, but I think he will be a little bit better. Same as our guy Hollywood Brown. Okay, now you take Chris Moore and you gotta substitute him for Bateman. Chris Moore for Bateman. You tell me. That's like going from an F, and as I did in the AFC North, I rank rookies essentially like a C. Why? Because I haven't seen them yet. But oh my effing god, I love Bateman. But for now, a C. So going from an F receiver to a C plus. Right. And then you have Duvernay. Now you're gonna say, Sonny, Duvernay did shit last year. And you are correct. I love Duvernay for the year before when we drafted him. Third year, learning experience. I think he's gonna be way better in the slot. So you have a guy, let's go back to Willie Snead, that is slower. Again, great chain mover on Willie Snead. Now you're gonna take Willie Snead out and you're gonna insert a more dynamic player in the slot. Amazing. But not only that, you have a guy in Hollywood Brown who will play the outside. But I think Hollywood's great in the slot, so you can kick him inside and put a guy like Bateman and Sammy Watkins outside. Now, you are against a team, let's say it's 3rd and 10, and you put Bateman, Watkins, Hollywood, Andrews. Again, I'm not ranking Andrews in this, but information, right? And you have JK over there with Lamar. They decided to play close to the line because they're scared Lamar. They're gonna spy it. You have 4 talented receivers that can make plays. By the way, I even haven't talked about Ty Wallace. But Ty Wallace, a 50-50 guy, amazing for the purpose of what this offense need. Excellent. It's just another layer, right? But in all the scenario, I basically are saying to you, Ty Wallace can just sit and relax. Haven't talked about Crochet either. They both can sit and relax and learn and get better. Okay? So saying this, how you play that? You're gonna go close in. Okay. But now I can have Hollywood and Dragger. And when that defense that is playing close to the line sees Hollywood, they're gonna right? Now you can maybe have Bateman playing a post, right? Which Lamar likes that middle. You can have Sammy where you going deep out. And I'm blanking the name of this route, but you can basically have Mark Andrews going in, out. Okay? For some effing reason, if they defend that shit, you can have still Jake and Dobbins going on a wheel route. And if they manage for some reason to cover all these receivers are running deep. So that means that defense went down. The only one is Hollywood running this dragger in, let's say it's to the right. That left side for Lamar, open season. So you pick your poison. So now you cannot cover them, right? You want to make sure Lamar has been burning us, running games, gassing us. We're closing by. Well, Bateman is an excellent route runner. Boom, middle. Oh, corner. Andrews. Oh, we fake it to Dobbins. Defense gets sucked in. 5-yard drag route over there to Hollywood Brown. Speed kills. Boom, first down. I mean, Sammy Watkins can do whatever at that moment. The layers that this offense can create now is at another level, right? The layers, the dynamics. Hollywood can be in the slot, he can be outside. Duvernay can be in the slot, he can also be outside for now and then. Bateman can be in the slot, yeah, but he's more of an outside guy. Sammy can go either way. And then you still have Andrews as a mismatch. Right? And Dobbins. Oh, you're playing man. What linebacker are you putting on Dobbins? Not that many out there. I'll give you Bush might be able to keep up. And the guy that the Dallas Cowboys drafted him, and the guy from the Buccaneers, White. Or is it White? Yeah, I think it's White. Yeah, sure. Those guys, but they're very, very few that can keep up with Dobbins. Pick your poison. So if we are smart, this team can be one of the hardest teams to defend. It was right now on the running side, and we cannot abandon the run. But now, if we play against a poor passing defensive team, we have the arsenal to annihilate them. And I know people were down on Julio. I never thought we were gonna bring Julio, but I know. Can this team use Julio? Any team pretty much in the league can use Julio, but this team should not be with the talent they had desperate like last year. Last year we were desperate. This year we aren't. Let me see some of the comments that I have here. No, Chris Moore is not in our team, and he signed with somebody else. If you guys probably Duvernay can be the next Julio, I think that's a stretch. Ravens 76 be more. I love Duvernay, but Duvernay they're different type of receivers. Okay, Duvernay can be special, but Borton, shout out to you, thank you for joining the live stream. If we stretch him out 4 more inches, I don't know about Julio. I was thinking Landry instead. Okay, so this is So I mean I love Duvernay, and I said that I'm gonna try to get a jersey. I haven't got any jerseys, but it's coming. People are sleeping on Perche. I'm not sleeping on Perche, but The problem, and this is why in this conversation I haven't mentioned Ty Wallace that much. Those guys, although I love them, I love the pick for Wallace. I like Prochet last year. I love Duvernay. They're rookies for a reason. They're rookies, but they're third, fourth, fifth, sixth rounds for a reason. I get them leeway. Prochet, what I want from Prochet, anything that he gives me this year is bonus. I need him to make a team. But what I think Prochet is, he is a developmental guy that I'm expecting him to have more of an impact next year. Example, in the case of, let's talk about him. Boykins, this is the year 3. I'm expecting impact this year. You don't give me impact, I'm done with you. In the case of Duvernay, I'm expecting him to be more part of the offense. Not necessarily impactful, super impactful, especially how this talent-wise is. In the case of Bateman, I'm not expecting him to be wide receiver 1 this year, but I'm expecting him to be wide receiver 3. And that's where Sammy Watkins breached that, because Sammy Watkins can be a good wide receiver 2 for now. With Hollywood, I'm expecting him to take another step. And Wallace, again, learning. Okay. Yeah, Chris Moore, I think he is in the Texans. I don't know who you're talking about, Azana. Paul, that's Masick. What up, man? So yeah, please make sure you listen to Paul. Hit that like. Also comment in this video, please, because that helped me out. And I will say this before I start with the calls. When I moved to England, to the UK, my channel suffered a lot, and I was accused by a couple fans that I wasn't posting because the Ravens. I guess the Ravens lost for a couple, and I tried posting things, but my internet couldn't survive. So, a channel ain't doing that great right now with views and all that. So commenting and giving the likes helps me a lot, right? Okay, so saying that, one other thing, I don't think no receiver. If this offensive passing game is what I think it will be, no receiver will eclipse 1,000 yards. I'm expecting Sammy to be in the 6. I'm expecting Hollywood to be in the 9. I'm expecting Bateman to be like 7 or 8. I'm expecting Duvernay to be like a 6. And then you sprinkle a couple other 100 yards, and I still expect Mark Andrews to be like 8, 7 to 8, and Dallas to be a couple hundred, and I just think it's gonna be a lot of spread, right? Spreading well. So I think he'll be close. Raven 76B more, but I don't think he eclipses that. Okay, so let's talk. Let's get some callers here. Make sure you tell me or give me a like here, or give me a thumbs up if you can hear the call. Hello.
Hello.
Who is this?
It's Brandon.
Hey, how you doing, Brandon?
I'm doing fine, real fine. You?
I'm doing okay. Again, like I said before the stream, I think tomorrow I'm getting bad news at work, so it is what it is. I'm here, man. Tired. It's almost 11. 10:30. It's almost 10:30. But shout out to you. What's up?
Well, I want to talk about some things. Well, the first one being about the Julio Jones trade to Tennessee and why I've been dealing with a lot of Ravens fans and groups and other places getting mad, saying that Costa doesn't want to make the bold moves and all that, saying that teams that want to win a Super Bowl make bold moves. Here's the thing. Julio's getting up there in age. Even if we trade for him, he's getting up there in age. Like, you can't, like, how many years do you think he's going to be playing at a Pro Bowl level? I at least give him at least 2, 3 at best. Also, Julio wants a new contract. Yeah, I don't think the Ravens are not going to give him a new contract where we got Lamar Jackson's contract coming in the way. And how about we give our young receiving core a chance? Can we give our receivers a chance to prove themselves? Another thing, DaCosta wants to win a Super Bowl, but he's also thinking long term. He wants the long term success. If you look at most teams who are in win now mode, Kansas City is in win now mode because when that Patrick Mahomes contract comes in, they're not going to be able to keep some of those players on that roster for long. And then you look at Tampa. Tampa has to maximize Tom Brady as much as they can because he's going to retire soon. And when he does, Tampa is probably not going to be a Super Bowl contender anymore. Teams, and another big example is the Rams. Look at them. They traded pretty much most of their draft picks to get guys like a Ramsey, Fowler, and other stuff, and they only made one Super Bowl, and that's it. Like, Ravens need to realize you got to think of the long term. Don't think of now, because if you do now, it's going to fuck up the long-term success.
Okay, so let me say this, because I hear a lot of Ravens fans also complaining about this. I think the bold move was not making the trade. Making the trade would have been easier, right? It would have made a lot of people happy, and even if Julio wouldn't work in here, people would have blamed DaCosta for trying. So not making the trade actually takes more courage, in my opinion, and more balls to just do that, right? Making the trade, I think it would have been, especially when there was no first round pick involved, I think making this trade would have been the easier move for the Ravens and DaCosta. I think the smarter move / the more bold move is to say, no, I like what I have. I'm going to roll with it.
Facts. Yes, facts. Agreed.
Anything else?
Well, I would say, if you look at Tennessee, a lot of people look at Tennessee as a Super Bowl contender. I'm like, really? Really? I don't see the Super Bowl contender. Like, I would say they are a playoff team, but they're far from a Super Bowl contender. Like, it doesn't matter how good the receiver is. You need that quarterback is going to take you. You need that quarterback to take you as far as you can. Like, and let's be honest. Do you really think Ryan Tannehill is going to step up when it matters?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I think that offense is good. I'm not here to say that bringing Julio doesn't help that offense. The problem the Tennessee Titans have is that defense is not gonna be good. They weren't good that last year. They're not gonna be better. I don't think they're gonna be that much better. Dupree is probably an upgrade over Clowney, but this is Dupree's first time being a true one. Well, when he used to be like the main pass rusher, he wasn't able to do it. When they got TJ Watt in Pittsburgh, then he got elevated a little bit. So Julio will help the offense, sure. I mean, he's an upgrade over the guy that they had last year that went to the Jets. I'm blanking his name. Corey Davis. But saying that defense is a lot to desire, and I think they're a good team. Are they that much better than last year overall? I don't think they're that much better. I think they're better. But one good thing that they have is that division is soft. You talk about Jacksonville, that is a team that could be up and coming, not for this year. And then you talk about the Texans, they're a mess, right? They're worse than last year. And then the Colts are an enigma because you don't know what wins you got. So saying all that, that division is not going to be as good as last year. So they should be able to have a decent cakewalk through it, to that division. But yeah, I think that team is good, but not that great. And people are gonna hype it up, the Julio Jones. And I do think they make him better, but what they needed, in my opinion, was defense more than offense.
Agreed. And another thing about it is, well, let me think. another thing about it is, well, Tennessee needed him more than Baltimore because of the people they lost offensively. Like you lost you lost Smith and Corey Davis. Those are two good weapons. Julio does replace them.
Yeah. Again, I think offensively they got better. I mean, we cannot say that they didn't get better. I think they got better offensively. How much better than last year? They got a couple points better than last year.
True.
Is that gonna make them go over the hump? No, because again, what they needed was a couple extra corners, right? And that's assumed Dupree works out, but still, that middle part, interior D
Yeah.
line and linebackers are still a lot to decide. I mean, the whole defense is not great. So their hope is to run the ball more than they're passing, because if they pass, they're gonna get that defense tired. That defense is not good already. So it's gonna be a disaster. So we'll see. I mean, I congratulate them for the move. They should have made the move. I mean, they should have made the move, but we'll see. I think Tennessee will be fine. We match up well with them. I think right now it's still stopping Henry. That team is still stopping Henry. Julio's there, but it's still stopping Henry.
True.
Anything else, man?
Well, I would go with. I'm probably gonna go with the receiving core. Like I don't think the receiving core this year, it's a lot more better than what we have last year. Like this receiving core, I don't think it doesn't need to be top 10 or 5. If they can be at least maybe in the 15th, the 17th range, I think we'll be good.
Yep. Again, they had the potential. We have just on talent wise one of the most talented receiving corps that I've seen in Baltimore.
You're not wrong.
So, and then think about how much Lamar has been able to work with.
With less weapons.
Exactly. So my hope is, look, I have high hopes for this offense. Now, again, like I said, a couple of you come to me like, Sonny, how can you rank? Because I did rank them 4th in the AFC North talk. But like I said, rookies, and I said this for all rankings, rookies, I haven't seen what they do. So I think on potential, again, love Bateman, but I haven't seen what they actually going to be doing here. And the other team have more proven weapons, right? So I think this receiving core is extremely talented. Now, I'm hoping we're able to exploit that talent and make something out of it.
Agree.
Anything else?
Well, I would go with the latest signing to with that offensive tackle. What's his name?
Juwan Howard?
Juwan
Howard?
Wait, wasn't I mean the guy that was on the Broncos?
Yeah, Howard.
Yeah, like it's a very good, decent contract, high risk, low reward. It's like
it's low risk because
I mean, it's a very low risk. Like he is talented. Like he's pretty much insurance for next year.
Yeah, I mean, he was starting to pop like I started the show saying. He just turned his Achilles, so he will be maybe by the middle of the year. I think it's a way for them to say, okay, I'm gonna have you here, and if we think you can play, we can have you compete next year with Villanueva because he's younger, right? If you're not, if you don't think you're gonna be able to play or anything, well, we can cut you and we just lick our wounds for $500,000 cap hit. Sure.
Agree.
Anything else, man?
No, I think I'm good. I think that's it.
Okay, well, take care, bro.
No problem. You too.
Thanks for calling. By the way, guys, I love to have the callers here. I love you guys calling the show. It's really cool. Love all the questions. So, hello.
Hey man, what's up?
Hey, how are you? How are you, man?
I'm doing all right. Doing pretty good. I had to. Never mind. I'm doing well. Let me get to it. So there were two things that I wanted to talk to you about. One of them, the second thing's kind of a hot take, but on the point about the wide receivers, I just wanted to make this quick comparison about the wide receiver and offensive line and how I think the Ravens have it mixed. Usually with the Ravens with wide receivers, I think at worst case scenario, we're going to have a starting three that's average at worst. And usually with wide receivers, if you want to have a really good wide receiving core, you'd rather have a really good 1, 2, and then 3. And then the depth chart could be whatever, as long as you have your top 3. And with offense, I have all through from the right to the left, you just want to have a whole bunch of average guys. And it's just, for example, with somebody the caliber of Ronnie Stanley, he's a superstar. You'd rather have a superstar at wide receiver, have an average tackle, and then from the left to the right, have it average. But I'm not sure what I'm trying to get at, but I know what I'm trying to get at. It's a bit confusing, but what I'm trying to get at is I wish the situation was a bit flipped, where we don't have, instead of having average wide receivers and high end talent at offensive line, it's the other way around. I just wanted to make that comparison.
So you're
Something
saying,
that I picked up on.
let me see if I follow. My bad.
It's pretty goofy, my bad.
You're saying that you think we have great O-line and average receivers, and you wish it was the other way around, that we have average O-line and great receivers.
As in, not as in we have a great O-line. What I'm trying to get at is our high-end talent at offensive line could be our highest end, which would be Ronnie Stanley, is great, top 3. I don't think it's really that arguable, while our high end at wide receiver is
I see.
It's just average. Yeah. And usually when it comes, high end offensive linemen will be very little good. You just want, for offensive lines, it's more so not how good your high end is, it's more so how often are you having like negative plays. So like with Ronnie Stanley or Orlando Brown, they could have really high ends, but it doesn't really do you too much good. For example, with a wide receiver, your high end could be a 90-yard touchdown. Meanwhile, with an offensive lineman, it's a really good, you shut down a good pass rusher or something. And with offensive line, it's more so how often do you have a negative play, where with, this is a bit complicated, but what I'm trying to get at is the Ravens have it kind of flipped. And I just wish it were to be the other way around, where they have 5 average offensive linemen, and then a high-end wide receiver, and the others could be mismatched, where you have a good starter here and here, and you just have a really good player there.
I got you.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
I will say this. I think it's way more important to have a top talent on the line than it is on the receiver, but it is more exciting to have a top receiver than a top offensive line, because having, let's say you have the goat of all lines, right? Best in the league. Well, that means you don't hear from him at all. You never hear from this dude. He had a great game. When you have to go to receivers, you're always hearing about him, right? So I get what the fans want, the best receiver versus the best O-line. The reality is the best O-line is the better pick, always. In the case of Lamar, I will say this. Lamar makes or helps the
offensive line a lot better.
He helps the O-line a lot, especially the tackles. Not necessarily the middle part, but the tackles a lot. He also helps a lot the receivers, because when he scrambles, so and I'm hoping you will see more of this.
You're taking safeties. You're taking a safety from. You're putting a safety in the box.
So, well, but not only that. Let's say they play cover 2. As soon as Lamar gets out of the pocket, people in that defense panic. Think about what happened against the Browns. Against the Browns, what happened was Hollywood got abandoned, because when Lamar rolled to the right, Go back and watch that film. Everybody was just coming down.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure on that exact play, they had three different instances where players ran into each other. It was the cornerback and safety that were on Hollywood. One of them was trying to come in while the other was trying to follow Hollywood. One of them was coming into South Lamar. They ran into each other. There was another, I remember they like designed a stunt blitz or something, and then Lamar was able to escape to the right. I don't remember exactly what it was. And then there were linebackers that ran into each other. And that all happened because, well, Lamar had he rolled out to his right, and the whole defense just panicked, and that let Hollywood loose off the top. But
it's because defenders were panicking, right? My point is, receivers in this offense, if this offense is constructed well on passing downs, Lamar should stay in the pocket for like a second or two. Like if his first two reads are not there, I want him to roll out, not necessarily to run. Yeah. It's because defenses panic, and then he can throw on the run. Now because when he rolls, there's a couple things happening. If the defense don't panic and stay put, well, now he has lanes to run, right? If they panic, which is probably what happens, now he has easy completions. And as I stated, our receiving core is very dynamic. So even if it is a 6-7 yard pass, like when we threw to Hollywood Brown, if I remember correctly, maybe it was a 10-yard pass, maybe. He took it for a touchdown, but it wasn't like he threw a deep pass, if I remember correctly. So Lamar makes both things better.
The one where he came back after what's his name? The backup got injured. After he walked out of the
that fourth down. That was a fourth down. That was it. That was decent.
Yeah, I remember. Quick thing. Back to the point about the offensive lineman, how you said you prefer the elite one over an elite playmaker like a wide receiver. And for me, I would disagree there. I would give some pushback because the thing with offensive line is just having one offensive lineman that locks down isn't really that important. It's having 5 guys that rarely ever give up pressure. For example, with the wide receivers, let's say you were 5 average wide receivers and 5 average offensive linemen. Let's say the offensive linemen every what's a good rate? Every 20, they give up pressure every 20 or so snaps. Let's say an elite one gives up pressure every 10 snaps. What am I trying to get at?
Yeah, I follow you.
20% of the time. While elite one would do it up at 10%. Well, the difference there is, let's say the elite one barely gives up any pressure, but because he's demanding so much money, so much resources, that you're gonna more than likely you're not gonna have an elite. You're not gonna be able to pay somebody else that's elite from the left to the right or whichever the other side of the line.
But you can make the same argument with the receiver, right? If you have Julio as his prime, right? Other than Julio Jones, the Falcons needed that second guy. Well, which they had. They had Sanu, Calvin Ridley for a little bit now. And before that, Tony Gonzalez was there with Julio Jones. So they had never had, not never, but for the most part, they really didn't have great O-line. And look what Atlanta has been. Yeah, they went to the World Super Bowl. For the most part, have you thought of Atlanta with Julio Jones, arguably the best receiver in the past 10 years, 7 out of the past 10? Have you ever thought of Atlanta as this team that you fear? Because I didn't at all.
Yeah, but they've always had a puncher's chance because of their because of the talent they've had on
Now
on the outside playmaker.
Let me ask you this: think about the Cowboys. When the Cowboys had the great O-line, people fear them way more, right? Now the O-line has been there, but full of injuries. But that O-line, being a solid O-line, they were putting any receiver, and they were able to rush for a bunch of yards, and they were able to protect Dak. And I know what you're gonna say. Well, the O-line for the Dallas Cowboys were 5, versus you're talking about Julio was a 1, and that is true. But with all the O-lines, right? If you have 3 weak-ass O-linemen, and 2 great O-line, yeah, I see you having the one great receiver might be better than having the one great O-line. I can see that point. I can hear it, and I can see it, and I buy it. If you have one great receiver and the level next to him is as equally as trash as what we're trying to compare for the O-line, you can take that one receiver out because the rest are not going to be as good.
That's a fair point.
But anyway, I can see.
Demand more coverage.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, my second point was it's a bit of a hot take, but let me just say I firmly believe that Lamar Jackson right now, public media has been ranked anywhere from 6 at best to 8 or even 9. While I believe he's a top 3 quarterback, and I really don't think it's it's very controversial, but I don't see too much evidence against it. And for the 2 guys that I would have above him are Aaron and Pat. In that order, I would have Aaron as 1 and then Pat as 2. Okay. But I wanted to talk about the other guys. Let's just say, for argument's sake, he's ranked number 6, and the 5 guys that people usually have ahead of him are Rodgers, Russ, Patrick. Who do you want to say? Allen and Watson and Tom Brady, even. Would it be fair to say those are usually the guys that people will have ranked ahead of Lamar?
Sure.
Quick question though: where would you rank Lamar if, as a quarterback?
Okay. So with Lamar, the problem is, what are you trying to box me in, right? And this is something that is coming out when we talk about running backs in the NFC North talk. And I mentioned this last week because I do think, and I'm not buying into the argument, Lamar is a running back, but Lamar's also a quarterback because Lamar's a weapon. So if you say, Sonny, what would you rank Lamar if he was just a pure quarterback? Can you select? He's give him probably in the 15-ish.
Around average.
Yeah. Now, if you say something,
but at the same time,
Lamar Jackson, the ball player, I think Lamar Jackson, the ball player, is 3rd or 4th.
Okay.
I can see Rodgers, but I can make arguments that Lamar is better than Rodgers as a ball player. Patrick Mahomes is ridiculous, so I cannot put Lamar on top of Patrick Mahomes. I mean, and I'm not diminishing Wilson or Allen has done it. Yeah, well, Allen did it for 1 year, so I would diminish him a little bit more. Watson, but think about this. Watson does the argument with Watson, for example, is Watson does a lot with little, right? But that's what Lamar has been doing throughout his 3 years in Baltimore. He does a lot with little.
He really hasn't even made that. When you said he does a lot with little, he really hasn't made that much out of that very little. I mean, he led them to, what was it, a 4 or 3-win season?
Yeah, well, he had the 1 playoff year.
Yeah.
But anyway, my point is, I think Lamar, I will say probably 3rd. Let me put him in 3rd. Because I think Lamar, if this team doesn't have Lamar, this offense is just horrible. Now, before this year, I think this year, for the first time, we have weapons that if we didn't have Lamar and you put a decent guy, let's say the top 10, the 10-ish quarterback, this team's still a playoff team. I think with Lamar, you're a Super Bowl contending team.
But this isn't a top 5 offense either, because the Ravens, scoring-wise, they've been the number 1 offense for the past 2 years. But when it comes to being balanced, they're top 10. When it comes to efficiency, when it comes to efficiency throwing the ball, I'm pretty sure they're top 10. They rank up there over the past 2 years in efficiency. Since they don't have volume, it's the only fair way to do it is to just use efficiency, I guess.
True.
I'm pretty sure they rank top 10, and I think it's fair to say they're top 5 offense over the past 2 years. And honestly, I don't think there's a single quarterback that could have achieved those same exact results over in the past 2 years, other than Lamar, and that's basically the reason as to why I say he's the third best quarterback. Because let's take other quarterbacks, other than Watson, the top 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks, even 10. I think Lamar has had by quite easily the worst surrounding cast, and it's
in the case of Watson, he had Hopkins throughout until last year, right?
Yeah,
Let's be honest. He
3
had
years,
Hopkins. The problem with him is O-line.
And his offensive line, people keep underestimating it. I mean, really was nowhere near as bad as people kept saying. Laramie Tunsil, he's top 5 left tackle, and from right to left, they have 3 good starters, 3 to 4 good starters on that offensive line.
Tunsil got there a year and a half.
I'm pretty sure they've been ranked top 10 pass protection.
Yeah, but my point is Tunsil got there for the last year and a half, right? Before that, he had Hopkins for his entire career up to last year. So I mean, I follow you. I agree with what you're saying.
Honestly, I think Lamar might have had a worse situation because the wide receiving core, he had Fuller, Wood, and Cobb, if I'm correct, right? Fuller, Wood, and Cobb. I don't remember who it was. Was it Cook or Cobb? What I'm trying to get at is he had three like well above starter wide receivers and a top 10 pass protecting offensive line according to PFF, and he had a really good season. But what did that lead to? So I think out of the top 10 quarterbacks, Lamar had quite with a good margin the worst surrounding cast.
Yeah, no, I think we can agree that on offense, the Ravens have not been great, meaning on talent, on the receiving core. On defense is where they have been great.
It's criminal.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
It's criminal what they've subjected him to for the past 3 years.
Yeah, I agree.
I actually expected some pushback from that, but
no, because I mean, our receiving core has been. I mean, we as Ravens fans, we go way back into Flacco years, and we always complain about receiving core, right? Receiving core has not been great, and with Flacco, we were never a great offense, but we plugged Lamar, we were a great offense, a dynamic offense. But what changed? Receiving core was trash throughout. But again, I think this year for the first time I can say, wow, we have a lot of talent. Like we do have a lot of talent. We'll see if the talent flourishes. You're depending on a lot of young guys, which sometimes is not the greatest thing, but still the talent is there. Before that, it was basically patch where you were hoping.
Yep. Also, one thing about just to show how well how impressive what Lamar Jackson did last year was, would it be fair to say how Lamar Jackson played last year is like his baseline, like on a down year for Lamar Jackson, that's how he would play, or that's how he would perform?
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that because the surrounding core around him, like I'm pretty sure I want to break it down piece by piece quickly. The surrounding core around him from 2019, where he was easily was the best quarterback in 2019. No, it was 2020. My bad. He was the best quarterback in 2020, the 2019-2020 season during the regular season, and it really wasn't close. And during that season, wide receiving core really wasn't too good. We just had a really good offensive line, good tight end performance, and that got us to the divisional round. We probably should have gone farther, but the same exact year, the year afterwards, where he came off a unanimous MVP, was the best player. The offensive line, the Ravens definitively downgraded at 4 positions on the offensive line: left tackle, right guard, and center. Those all 4 were quite substantial downgrades because Orlando Brown had to switch to left tackle to replace Ronnie, and that's a downgrade. So he legitimately got worse at 4 positions, and the Ravens' 3 tight ends turned into just 1. And even that one is extremely inconsistent when it comes to just catching the ball.
Last year was the worst, right? Because we had O-line problems, receiving problems, tight end shortage. It was not great.
And yet Lamar Jackson still played like a top 10 quarterback, and even Lamar Jackson, he made some mistakes. He didn't play perfectly. He still had room to improve because there were a few games in there where he would throw too many interceptions. He would miss some throws, and he played pretty inconsistently. And yet, it's pretty fair to assume that's his baseline, a top 10 quarterback, when literally everything around him fell apart. There were multiple injuries. The team was COVID rag. The defense wasn't even playing up to par. I mean, up until the playoff, up until like the last few games, up to like the last 3 or 4 games, Ravens were average at best at defense. And it's absurd how far Lamar was able to carry us all the way up to divisional round, even after the whole surrounding cast fell apart.
I agree.
Yeah. I think he is a top 5 quarterback without question. I think the media is sleeping on him real hard right now because he had a down year and he's still a top 10 quarterback and everything around him fell apart. But yeah, that's my whole take on it. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, bro. Thank you. Always enjoying the calls.
You do. Appreciate it.
Let me address this question before I take the last call here. Paul Masick says, Giro to give LJ more snap on the center. What is the advantage of that? Okay. The advantage from that is mostly on the passing game. Also set up play action, but when you're in the center, now you can do 3 and 5 steps drop. And you're like, Sonny, what is the big deal with 3 and 5 steps drops? Well, when you're 3-step drops, you essentially are snapping 1, 2. You know your routes. 1, 2, 3, ball comes out. 5-step drop, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the idea is when you hit that 3rd step, the routes are breaking to a certain point that you are expecting, right? So everything becomes more cohesive. Everything becomes more mechanical. Oh man, rehearsed. You know, when you're dancing and you're like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, essentially like that, right? Peyton Manning and Tom Brady did that a lot. So when you are more on the shotgun, you don't have that 1, 2, 3. Now you're like in your mind you're doing it, but the steps is almost, oh man, and the words doesn't come out, but you know, like dancing, like 1, 2, 3, boom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, and you, Lamar and or whoever the quarterback is, they know the routes, so they're expecting him. Okay, that's it. I just wanted to go through there. So yeah, timing. Thank you, Let's Get It. That's what it was. It's all about timing. Thank you, Let's Get It. Thank you for that. Okay, let me have here. We have. Oh,
Yo, what's up?
hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, Sonny, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Like I said, we'll see how this news is tomorrow, but we'll see. But I'm here. I'm here. Almost 11 o'clock. I'm here.
Sounds good. Yeah, so this is actually, I heard some interesting things on the last call. So I thought it was actually a good segue to something that I thought as my own take for the Ravens this year. So, I mean, it was early in the call. The statement was that the caller had believed that a greater emphasis on wide receiver netted a better benefit than more emphasis on O-line. So they get a bigger bang for the buck for the wide receiver first, like, if you will. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't know if this point was brought up, but I remember very distinctly this past Super Bowl where Pat Mahomes looked average. Like he clearly tried, but he didn't get anything. And it was very synonymous, very similar to what we've seen from Lamar Jackson last year, where he's running for his life, can't keep a good base to go and throw to his receivers. And he was taken out in the Bills game. So I mean, I would absolutely say that first you need to build on the trenches, both offensive and defensive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little old school in football in terms of that. And then you can have somewhat average receivers, but as long as they work within the system, then you can have better than average outcome. That's my personal opinion on it.
Okay, so let me say this. I agree with you completely, but I think, to be fair, his point was one great receiver, the rest average, or one great O line and the rest average. And the reality is, for the O line, you need more than one great one. You need a good, solid core, right? Obviously, if you have the greatest in one position, that'll be great. But for the most part, you want you can handle having one bad one, but as soon as you get two bad ones, that's when it starts getting tricky. But I mean, I agree with you. I prefer the solid core O line. Like, if you tell me, okay, would you rather have the top 5 receiving core, or the top 5 O line? Top 5 O line for sure. But in the case, to be fair to him, is one. He just wants, like, if you get one, which one is more return? And if you take an isolation of one, maybe. But if you're talking about a core, receiving core versus receiving, or versus O-line core by far is more important than the receiving core.
Yeah, I get that, and I could agree with that. You're talking about for like a 1-to-1 comparison. I could see that. It's a matter of you. I think in either case it'll be not ideal. Simply because, I mean, there's a distinct difference between the NBA and NFL. Where NBA, you have like 2-star players, you can kick everyone's ass. Versus if you're the NFL, you have 2 great players, but the rest of your team is subpar. You're not going to make it very far. I mean, a great example is Detroit Lions with Matthew Stafford and Megatron, where they made the postseason a few times, but not a ton. And they never really had that much success. And then Megatron ended up leaving anyway because he realized it was a waste of his time. You wouldn't win anything. Kind of like how they did it was with this other guy. I can't remember what his name was. Just like a star running back from them. He was projected to be like one of the top 5 or 3 of all time, and he said, fuck it, I want to get out because sorry for the language. But he said, I'm out because he was gonna waste his time and tear his body down for what? Just he wasn't getting as much money as he would wanted, and then he wasn't gonna win no Super Bowl. So I think I kind of see the point, but I think at the end it will be a team sport more so. Mm-hmm. I'm going to segue this into what my projections are going to be for the Ravens. I thought about it pretty deeply recently, and I would say in the beginning I was very high on the Julio hype train. I was like, let's go ahead and get him, and that will bring us to it might bring us, be able to really contend for that Super Bowl. But I think we can do it regardless. If we compare 2019 with last year, that offensive line, we ended up losing Marshall Yanda. Matt Skura got injured, and he wasn't able to bounce back. And then we ended up losing Nick Boyle, which was really cute as well. And then Hayden Hurst was also somewhat of a blocking tight end. We ended up losing him too. He could catch, but he was really like an all-around tight end. So we lost a lot of defenders, and none of them were really replaced. I would say this year we really addressed that. We got Villanueva, we got Zeitler. Cleveland is to be seen, but I think he definitely has the ability to be solid.
Yep. We'll see what happens with
I think he has a high floor. And then moving Bozeman to his natural position, I think is going to make him, he may have the best season of his career this upcoming year.
I'm hoping
And I think,
because you know me and Bozeman.
yeah, I mean, I get it because even he was a great swing tackle, but not really great at anything else. But when you really throw in that size comparison for like majority of centers, he's actually a pretty damn big center, all things considered, on average. So maybe with him being a good swing tackle, having that mobility, and then actually being a little bit bigger than the average center, maybe he'll be more effective than the average and be an above average, or if not possibly an elite center. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm making a little bit of a leap, but I think the potential's there.
I would love that. I would love that he becomes the elite center, especially because if he plays good, you probably don't have to overpay for him yet, because you can say, "Yeah, it was 1 year." We'll see. Well,
Right.
but we'll see, man. I'm hoping everybody is where it's supposed to be, and this O-line is playing great.
I think it will be. I feel pretty confident. The only thing that's a little question mark is would be Ronnie Stanley's health concerns. Because I mean, it's kind of how Matt Skura was out, and then when he came back, he was not the same person. I'm just afraid that Ronnie Stanley gets hurt, he comes back, he's not the same left tackle. But if he's able to go and come back the way he was in like 2019 when he wasn't injured, and it's not hindering him this year, then I think we're golden.
Yeah, I agree. So hopefully everybody's healthy and ready to rock. Anything else, man?
I think I'm going to go ahead and keep it there for now, because I know it's getting super late for you, and I don't want to cut into your sleep time.
Ah, that's okay, man. If you have a question, it's okay. That's why we're here.
I mean, I'm feeling pretty confident with the team the way it stands. I would like to see an edge rusher. I don't know why we haven't signed Justin Houston yet. That's the biggest head scratcher. I don't know if it's because he's still demanding a ton of money, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that at this point. Because I mean, a lot of those roster spots are locked now. So overall, demand is not very high. So he's not going to really be able to get that money if that's what it is.
I wonder. My opinion is probably if the Ravens made an offer, he doesn't like it as much, and he might waiting. Well, if X guy gets injured, I might get a call and get more money. Maybe.
That's a huge if, though.
So we'll see.
That's a big if. I don't know.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I mean, I could get that being the rationale, but I mean, let's just say hypothetically nobody gets injured, then he's not playing this season. And then if he ends up missing an entire year, then he ain't playing next season because he's already old. So that would be a little bit of a gamble, in my opinion.
I agree. We'll see. I don't understand why we haven't signed him either. I wish.
And I mean, the only other thing, I'm going to run this real quick because I don't want to keep too long, but I found the sign for the guy from the Broncos to be pretty interesting. I kind of get it, but at the same time, it was kind of, to me, it feels more like a luxury and not necessarily a need. And I still feel like we have a need on this team right now. I would have liked to have seen that some of that cap. I mean, it's not a ton of money. It's like $3 or $4 mil. I think his contract's like for 2 years, $9 mil.
Yeah,
he's probably gonna get.
But it's half a million is only guaranteed. So it's
Okay.
if they can cut him tomorrow, just $500,000. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, then that's not as bad. But I would like to see them just sign somebody on edge. Because I mean, even if Odafe Owe he balls out and he's absolutely fantastic, there's still two sides to the edge. So even if he's great, you still need somebody to complement him. And I mean, I don't know who would that be. Tyus Bowser is a situational guy. I don't know why I want to call him, but I'll follow it. What's his name? The guy who's an edge rusher and he's been in the Ravens the Super Bowl.
McPhee?
Yeah, McPhee. Yeah. How am I thinking but not followed? But yeah, McPhee, he's situational too. And then they're trying to hype up Jalen Ferguson, and I just don't have faith right now.
Yeah, they are
He's
hyping
like,
him.
so I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna maybe move like maybe they're gonna moving somebody else from who's like a middle MLB to the edge. Maybe like gosh, so we drafted Patrick Queen and then this other guy last year for the middle linebacker. His last name just started with an H.
Harrison.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe they might move him to edge. I don't know if he'll be able to do that.
Keeping a middle linebacker, let him learn, and then hopefully next year he can start. That's what I think they should do.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, the Ravens do some interesting things sometimes, and they may not be to the best. They may not be in the best for the long run for the player, but I mean, we'll see.
But I have faith. They figure out how to generate pressure, but it'd be nice if we have a legit outside rusher. But they figure out how to generate pressure for the most part. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but then at the same time, we're able to generate pressure on, like, I would say maybe average, slightly above average offenses, but when we're coming against offenses that are more elite, like, I would really point towards the Chiefs. We're not getting a lot of pressure. And I mean, I know for sure a lot of that's coaching as well, but I think it's been pretty much proven that it's not as effective to have the corners and safeties, whatever, go ahead and go into blitz packages and then leave the backfield open for like a Tyreek Hill or anyone else on the backfield because they're stacked upon stack, and then leaving it to go ahead and try to stack Mahomes and then missing it because it's not being able to get there, and then having the whole backfield open and then going in for a touchdown. I feel like that's how a lot of our games were lost, along with just inept offensive coaching.
I don't disagree. Mahomes once it's hard to watch because we cannot get to him. When you cannot get to Mahomes, you're gonna suffer. Anyway, I'll let you go because I have one more caller to get. Okay.
Sounds good, man.
Take care, bro. Take care. Let's go to the last caller here before we. By the way, thank you, Thomas Morgan, for that donation for the chickens. I appreciate that. Jacob, what up, man?
Yo, how you doing, dog?
Hey, man, I'm here. People are saying that I'm still awake. Yeah, I'm having fun with y'all. How you doing?
Good. So the other day, I have an account on Instagram. It's called Flock. It's called Flock Cove. If anyone wants to follow it, and I posted this mock trade. This was before the Julio trade, saying that trading like Gus Edwards and like a 4th round pick for Julio would make sense, with like Atlanta having like Arthur Smith and he liking his power backs, and it just made a lot of sense. And then the day after the Julio trade, we see Gus Edwards gets the extension. So I kind of have a theory that we're actually trying to trade Gus for Julio and like another like 4th round pick, because the Falcons need a running back. We had Gus. We have I think we have all those comp picks next year, so we give him Gus in one of those comp picks, or we could have, not anymore. But I have a theory that they're trying to do that, considering we just extended Gus today. What are your thoughts?
Maybe. I always thought that if they really wanted a running back in this trade, Gus wasn't the guy that they were aiming for. Because the reality is, Gus, if they get Gus, now they have to pay him too. And they're tight in their cap. So because if not, Gus walks away next year. So running backs, Ravens have another talented young running back that is 3 years on the contract for cheap. That is the guy that I think they would have wanted if there was a running back in this deal. Yes.
Yeah, but we weren't giving him.
And that's probably like if they really wanted a running back, I think they asked for Dobbins and they said no. And then the Falcons probably said, well, if you don't want second and Dobbins, I need 2 seconds and I don't know, a third. And the Ravens probably said, nah, we're good. That's what I think. I don't think the
Yeah.
Ravens were that into the Julio Jones thing. I think they
Nah.
offered them low ball and said like, oh, if nobody else wants him, I'll take him.
Nah, we cheap when it comes to receivers, but we'll give the young guys a chance.
Yeah, I'm excited for them. I'm very excited for them.
We'll see what they can do. And one more thing, I'm really excited about our new ones. Have you seen our outside linebacker coach, like pressers and stuff? And he's gotten some like high praise from Wink, and like just the way he talks in his pressers. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he develops our young guys well. I wouldn't be surprised if he has a defensive coordinator job somewhere else.
I mean, if he makes it off the old way, really good, and let's say good, and then if he gets Bowser to be a good sack guy, then yes, he should get a defensive coordinator job.
That's what I'm thinking, and it'll be interesting to see how he plays out and how he develops these guys. But I think it sounds like, from what I'm hearing, I mean, at least in like the pressers, they're really high on Dalen Hayes right now.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing, and I'm hoping, because this is, again, my theory always is a third round pick in the third year. That's what I want him to see impact, and that's where this year is, right? My only problem that I have with Ferguson is I haven't seen progression to now, right? Not be able to impact the game, I'm okay with that. Again, a third round pick. Progression, not seeing the progression, that's the thing that scares me, and that's my biggest problem.
Yeah, I mean, Ferg, they're high on Ferg, and then Dalen Hayes, from the rookie. I know he's a fifth down pick, but I mean, he looks kind of polished, and they're saying good things about him. I'm not sure if he's gonna. I just have a feeling he might get some decent playing time this year, but I don't know.
I mean, he will get his opportunity. He definitely will get his opportunity. So we'll see. I think there's an opportunity for any pass rush to make an impact this year. So they should. If they play hard, they will have an opportunity. It's a pass rush by committee, right? We don't have any big superstars, so. But yeah, I agree with you. The coach, the outside linebacker coach, if he can make decent out of these outside backers, he has a shot.
He's gone.
He's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I got. I just wanted that. I got a lot of hate for that one Gus Edwards theory.
Oh no, man. I mean, that's fine. What was your Instagram again? I mean, I just checked it because I follow you.
Flock Cove, like Cove coverage and then Flock.
Yeah. So Flock Cove, go check them out. I'm a follower, so go check him out. Go check Jacob out. Shout out to you. Thank you for the call, man.
Yeah, thanks for taking me.
Shit. And Asmodeus, brother, thank you for the donation for the mac chickens. I think they have mac chicken here. I usually order a quarter pounder when I do McDonald's. So, but shout out to you, shout out to Thomas. Both of you donated. Appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Every time you guys donate to me, I remember the first time that I saw a donation, like my eyes water up because it's special when people take their hard-earned money and essentially they tip you for new content. I don't take it lightly. So every time you guys donate to me, I take it special. So shout out to all of you guys that donated. The ones that donated, they didn't donate, that's fine. All I'm asking you is give it a like, and if you can, comment on this video, even if you say hi, Sonny, even if you say thank you for the show, even if you say, you know what, I really didn't like that show that much, any comment helps this channel grow. I appreciate everybody's here. It's gonna be lit tomorrow. Go check AFC North Talk if you haven't. Go check them out. We're gonna be there tomorrow, 5:45 p.m. Eastern. Thank you everybody for watching. We will see you next time.